put up this thread for growing the superchain through collaborative governance is in season 4, where you can see a little overview. One of them is an Optimism Fractal participant agreement. Implement a minimum vote threshold to trigger meetings for Optimism Town Hall.
The fractal ecosystem that you guys have developed seems to be like quite nicely poised to be able to develop relationships with some of these novel chains.
This allows the community to execute on-chain actions using their respect tokens. The OP Labs team, Zain and Hamdi, who are building Interop across the superchain. All right, and now welcome to Optimism Town Hall. So I'm going to give a little brief introduction here to Optimism Town Hall and what we'll be discussing here. So if you like, then you can check out optimismtownhall.com or the Optimism Town Hall Season 4 thread on the governance forum. You can check this out for an overview of Optimism Town Hall and the Season 4 that we're now in. Welcome back, everybody. This is our first Town Hall that we've had in 6 weeks now after a 4-week break that we had. And I hope that everybody had a nice time and enjoyed their break and got some good rest and was able to focus on other great work and stuff like that going on optimism in the world. You can check out Optimism Town Hall to learn more about Optimism Town Hall. It's a collaborative forum for discussions about the superchain and Ethereum with a special focus on coordination and governance. We host bi-weekly events that create an interactive space where everyone can learn about optimism development, explore opportunities on Ethereum, and contribute to important conversations about the collective's future. And we host these on Thursdays at 18 UC after Optimism Fractal event. So these are structured discussions, but also open discussions. We talk about things going on in the Optimism Collective, like retrofitting opportunities and missions and educational sessions about the world computer and hear from talented builders and Q&As, all sorts of different things. And we facilitate the agenda of each event, and we choose the topics via community agenda games that we like to call Cagendas or OPTOPICS, where people can vote with their reputation tokens, which currently it's, I believe, we're having some technical figuring out how to do this best, but right now people with Optimism Factor respect tokens, and I believe badge holders in the Optimism Collective can vote in these right now. We'll talk a bit more about that right now, or in this episode. But yeah, basically everybody's welcome to join the events and watch the videos and ask questions, and then if you want to formally vote, then you can vote on our Snapshot space with those tokens. And you're also welcome to check out the optimismtownhall.com/videos page, where we are curating the different seasons. So you can see our first season, our second season, and our third season. They've each had about 12 episodes each. And so, for example, in our season 3, for some reason the pictures are small and they should be right now, which is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. So we'll check out season 2 instead because the pictures are the right size here. So you can check out what we've been discussing here during our various town hall episodes, and each one of these has show notes and timestamps and so forth. We can learn all the technical developments and research and discussions we've had. We've had a wonderful first 3 seasons, and I'm really excited to embark on this 4th season with y'all, and I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts. And like I said, you can join. We just had the first event of Optimism Fractal Season 6 just before this, where we played a respect game where people can earn respect tokens by playing the respect games. And that is a way you can gain influence, free to everybody to join. And that helps you gain voting power to choose Optimism Fractal, Optimism Town Hall topics. You can learn more at optimismfractal.com, and also check out the seasonal thread for Optimism Fractal Season 6 on the governance forum to learn more. I'll show that in a little bit. And, Optimism Town Hall provides a great place to explore Ethereum as a whole. Superchain is scaling the values and technologies of Ethereum to create a better world for all, and invite you to explore optimism.io to learn more, and ethereum.org, as well as join our events for Optimism Town Hall to learn, share ideas, and be part of building an equitable internet on the superchain. It's welcome to everybody who's new to Ethereum or experienced builder. We hope that you'll have a great experience here, learn a lot of great things, and form meaningful connections, and really help contribute to a better future for everybody with better democratic coordination. So with that in mind, we have some quick updates I can share here. So one, you could check out the Optimism Town Hall Season 3 thread if you'd like to see what we did last season as well. And these threads show a little overview of Optimism Town Hall, and then we update each episode here and share videos and so forth. And then I also just posted, if you search for Optimism Town Hall Season 4, I meant to have this up before we started. but I'll just pull it up right now. If you go to Optimism Town Hall Season 4, I just put up this new thread. I think I pulled this up actually before. I'm a little bit disorganized. My apologies. But put up this thread for growing the super chain through collaborative governance is in Season 4, where you can see a little overview and update of what Optimism Town Hall is and how our democratic topic selection works and our vision impact, how we could see it evolving or how I see it evolving. Curious everybody's thoughts, as well as resources and invitation to join the events. And then at the bottom of here, as well as in a few other places, I put up a topic proposal on the Optimism Town Hall Snapshot space that got a few votes from community members. Thanks everybody for voting on this. And thanks for the heart, Gene, much appreciated. And yeah, so I wrote a little bit of an intro, which I kind of went over about how I'm thrilled to welcome everybody back and how really excited to connect with everybody and hear from everybody's thoughts. And then I figured that during this town hall, we could have a perfect opportunity to reconnect and reflect on our accomplishments, reflect on our time over the break, whatever we has done, and then also chart our course for the months ahead, both for Optimism Town Hall as well as also the Optimism Fractal community. As many people here, most people here were in the Optimism Fractal events, and it provides a place for us to discuss next steps for Optimism Fractal, as well as wider goals and initiatives going on in the Optimism Collective and Superchain. Optimism Season 8 will be starting soon, so I encourage people to stay up to date on the gov.optimism.io governance forum. So yeah, we can discuss that and we can recap and talk about what we want to achieve in this new season and share exciting new developments. And then also, I have been working on some draft proposals for uh, what to like things I'd like to change and update for both Optimum Fractal and Optimum Town Hall in the new season, or at least I'd like to hear feedback about what everybody thinks about these things. And one of them is an Optimism Fractal participant agreement. This is something that we had discussed several times back since almost the beginning of Optimism Fractal, back almost a year and a half ago. And then in the most recent Optimism Town Hall videos, 37 and 38, we had discussed basically implementing an agreement for Optimism Fractal to provide clarity around how it works for people and set expectations fairly, and make sure that everybody understands like how the community cooperates and so forth and so forth. So we can go more in detail about that, but wanted to just bring that everybody's attention. And then if you go also to, I suppose, the season 3 and then go to the most recent video, you can check all these on the Eden Careers YouTube channel as well. Then you'll see we discussed this Optimism Fractal participant agreement twice there. And I have it linked in that snapshot proposal too. So if you go back to the Optimism Town Hall snapshot and then you click over here, then you can actually see the draft proposal that we had been working on. We got a lot of great feedback on it when we discussed it last. We have a lot of good comments. So as an update, we're planning to talk about this, or we're planning to, sorry, I'm trying to find the specific note that I have this agreement on because I realized I linked to the wrong thing. It's somewhere here. I'll show it briefly. It becomes important, but basically we have a lot of great feedback and we're planning to implement with HATS protocol, but basically we have some outstanding matters to determine exactly how it will be implemented, so we could discuss that as a community if we want to. I've also been discussing other things like Dunas and Unas. I've been exploring this and curious everybody's thoughts, but I think that can be done later and we can start with a simple agreement. And then the other thing I'd like to bring up too is new Cagendas rules with minimum respect vote threshold. So over the break, I was speaking with Rosmari and I was thinking about our team's resources, the Optimistics team that presents the Optimism Town Hall events and puts them together. And previously, we'd always done Optimism Town Hall right after Optimism Fractal. And it provides a place, like I said, both for the Optimism Fractal community to form consensus on, matters that are important to the Optimism Fractal community, as well as just discuss things that are relevant to the Optimism Fractal community. And also it provides a space for us to go into things that are very important and exciting for the wider optimism ecosystem, people who are interested in the superchain. And so we've always hosted this just like consistently right after Optimism Fractal events, and we've hosted 38 events so far. But I've been drafting, I haven't really started drafting it other than this, but I've been just thinking about a proposal that would implement a minimum vote threshold to trigger meetings for Optimism Town Hall in order to allow the Optimistics team to focus resources more efficiently. Most of the Optimistics team is still operating on a volunteer basis right now, and we are planning to launch Eden Fractal Epoch 2. I don't know how familiar everybody is with Eden Fractal, but Eden Fractal has been operating for almost 3 years now. It's about to celebrate its 3-year anniversary, and it's been pioneering these processes like Cagendas and like the respect game that we've been playing at Optimism Fractal. And Eden Fractal will be launching Epoch 2, which we've been planning to do for the past year now. We've been preparing for it, which will basically involve the deployment of the ORDAO software to be able to play respect games at Eden Fractal that are focused on um, improving fractal decision-making processes and improving respect game software and all these different things. Um, so can go in more detail about that, but we'll be hosting our first Eden Fractal event next week, Thursday at 17 UTC on May 22nd. And then on June 5th, I believe we'll be celebrating our anniversary, which is on June 8th. And we'll also be officially kicking off Epoch 2. We'll deploy the software and start playing respect games. And one of the things we've been talking about is reintroducing an event called Eden Town Hall to provide a place where the Eden Fractal community and people who are interested in um, fractal decision-making processes to be able to form consensus around like the new governance processes. This is actually quite related to the Optimism fund distribution proposal that I've been working on. I know I've been talking for a while, so I'll try to wrap it up soon. I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts, but I just kind of want to put this out here so everybody can understand these proposals in the first place. Then we can decide what we want to discuss if we want to dive deeper into these. Um, I appreciate Will also say, I feel town hall should be on demand as needed if there are decision topics that need to be brought forth to the council. And Rosemary said, no problem. Thanks for the support and sharing. And yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking, Will. So basically, it does take a lot of resources to produce the videos for Optimism Town Hall and to organize the events and make these top proposals and so forth. And one of the things that I'm aiming to do with Eden Fractal is to test out the first pilot program for this kind of fund distribution system using the respect game and doing this at Eden Fractal. I talked about this a little bit. I shared a proposal, or not a proposal, I shared the new deliverable in the fund distribution research document that I've been working on after a grant was approved by the Optimism Collective Grants Council. And part of this includes testing this out with $1,000 that I plan to commit to distribute at Respect Games at Eden Fractal to foster the development of the like the free and open fractal ecosystem and people who are contributing to hosting fractals or promoting fractals or developing fractal software or whatever it may be, which are basically testing this out. And in order for this to work correctly, I think we also need to start doing Eden Town Halls occasionally, but there needs to be a balance of resources because we'd love to also start promoting the Eden Fractal videos or producing the Eden Fractal videos sometime, or we've already doing that with Eden Fractal, but the Eden Town Hall. And right now there's a website for Eden Town Hall because we did that. I hosted like 50 of these like a couple years ago, but it's kind of like it's a little bit out of disordered right now. But basically, the plan is like to have it so that we don't need to do Optimism Town Hall every week after Optimism Fractal, and instead we'll be able to have a minimum vote threshold. Like one of the numbers that came to mind was 2,000. We could do a different amount too, but this would make it so that like if we decided to 2,000, we'd say we would only host an Optimism Town Hall if there's at least 2,000 respect votes on a proposed topic in the Optimism Town Hall snapshot before Monday at 17 UTC. And of course, everybody can go here and vote on topics, and you can see how many votes they have. Mostly it's been me voting on topics, so or proposing topics. Everybody else is welcome to propose topics, of course, too. But basically, the idea would be that if we go with this system, then it'd be somewhat scaling down Upton Town Hall, but it would just be doing it when the community feels like it's needed, and then allowing us to redistribute resources to do other things like host Eden Town Hall events or just focus more on technical development or business development or reaching out to people in the background stuff. I see Zal said amazing, love to hear it. Thank you for the support, Zal. So that's my kind of draft proposal there in addition to Optimism Fractal participant agreement, and curious to hear everybody else's thoughts there and more details here. And just one more note about that too is that, or actually maybe first I'll share this other one too, and then I'll wrap up this and we can hear from everybody. The other note here is updates to Optimism Town Hall voting systems. I just want to give everybody like a brief update because there's been some changes, or there's been one change and there's another change coming. So for one thing, I needed to remove the OP token voting feature in the Optimism Town Hall. So during Optimism Town Hall Season 3, we allowed people to vote with OP tokens because we want to have like a pluralistic voting system where people, all different stakeholders from the Optimism Collective, can vote on topics to help choose our topics at the Optimism Town Hall. So I had enabled to allow OP token holders to vote on topics. But I need to temporarily disable this feature as it basically became like super plutocratic where somebody had like 10,000 OP tokens and they could basically choose the topic because we need to implement a custom voting strategy in Snapshot, which allows you to balance it so that, a certain amount of OP votes will equal a certain amount of respect votes. But right now, it's just every vote counts as one. And so, in order to make it so that it wasn't just all plutocratic and the OP token voting could control the voting, I need to turn it off. And I'd love if there's any developers out there who can help us develop this feature. I don't think it's a huge amount of work, but it is. It would take maybe at least a few days, something like that, for a developer to do it, as far as I can see. So, basically that's like that just news I wanted to share there. I'm not sure if that matters to most people here, but for people in the collective, we want to make it as welcoming as possible. Everybody's welcome to join and vote and propose and share their thoughts and so forth. But that's an update to the voting system. And then I'm also planning to add the new ORDAO respect from season 5 and season 6, because I don't believe that's been added yet. So people will be able to now vote with both their respect from season 5 and season 6, in addition to seasons 1 through 4 for the Optimism Fractal respect. So those are my updates there. And it's a bit like a scale back of both the time that we eventually do Optimism Town Hall, as well as how many people we can allow to vote at Optimism Town Hall on the official votes. But I hope that everybody will be patient with us while we like organize our resources to make the biggest impact possible for the collective and Superchain and for everybody in the Optimism Fractal community as well. So thanks everybody for being patient and listening and being here. And that's all my thoughts here, basically. So curious to hear if anybody wants to dive in deeper to any of these topics, or if anybody just wants to just share, general updates about how they've been. Thanks all for the claps and what they've been up to. The floor is open, and I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts. If not,
Yeah, I think you saw my feedback. I think you saw my feedback in the chat about the town halls. You know, defining the ratio between OP and OPF, right, is going to be very difficult to do. So, what are your thoughts around that? Like what would the ratio be? Is it like 1,000 OP equals 1 OPF because you're valuing people's time and participating in these events? Or I'd just be curious to learn more about that.
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Will. So, I'm not sure. So maybe first I'll um maybe I suggest it could be 1,000 to 1. That's like valuing the OPF in the voting algorithm quite a lot more than the OP token. But OP tokens, in total, I think there's like, I don't know how many OPF tokens, Optimism Factor Respect tokens, there are like 20,000 or something like that, 15,000. Whereas in total, there's like many, I don't even know the exact number. I think it's like a billion or more of the OP tokens. So there might be 1,000 times more OP tokens than OPF tokens. So somewhere around there. Um, so maybe that's a fair way to do it. We haven't had like that much demand from people voting with OP tokens too. I mostly put it in to be more welcoming to people who wanted to join, but we don't have that many like large delegates joining. We've had a few people with like millions of votes a couple times, but not like very consistently. Sometimes people had voted if they had 100 OP or a couple thousand OP. But so I think for now it's like not that big of a priority to turn on until there's more demand for it. Or like obviously if we could have development work to help it to help implement it, that would be great to do if somebody wants to do it like yeah, like right away. But so I think we could like, maybe decide the appropriate ratio later when it makes more sense, when we have the software built and or the custom voting strategy built, and when we well, when we decide it's like a priority to discuss, or there's demand for it, or a lot of demand for it. But I don't know, maybe 1,000 to 1, maybe 100 to 1, maybe 500 to 1, maybe 20 to 1. I suppose it could be changed dynamically too. And one note that I could share with this too is, I think, I think generally like, well, first off, I see Will, you're unmuted. Do you want to jump in and share any other thoughts? Feel free if you do, or else I can keep talking a little bit
Well,
more.
no, right. So the total supply of OP is basically 4.3 billion, right?
Okay.
Um, yeah, 4.3 billion. So if we're doing it just based on that ratio as far as like available supply, right, then we would be saying, let me make sure this calculator goes up that high. Yeah. The ratio would be more like 2 million to 1. I don't know if that's a fair ratio, but I think that if you're going to move in that direction, you do definitely need to give some thought as far as the quality of time. And I absolutely would value OPF um, as like a higher token value because it's based on participation, right? Than just OP. I mean, OP you can go get it on the open market if you want to, right? OPF you can't. You have to come into these events. You have to participate. You have to share your work. So yeah, those are just my initial thoughts around it. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yep. Great thoughts. Thanks, Will. I see Rosmari giving a thumbs up too. If Rosmari or Gene, you want to jump in at any point, then feel free to do so. We're curious to hear your thoughts. And of course, Will, if you want to share more, then feel free as well. And oh, I see Gene's unmuted.
Yeah, I heard you mention the like thinking behind some business development. Like, are you guys looking at novel chains that are just kind of starting to build on the super chain, or like how what kinds of avenues are you guys exploring?
Um, so we can because I wanted to also share that thought. Maybe Gene, first I'll just share one more thought on the topic that Will suggested, and then I'll come back to your question. I appreciate it.
Certainly
Um,
apologize.
okay, no problem at all. I appreciate you asking that. That's a great question. But just in regards to what Will said, there's just one more thing I want to share, which or maybe two more quick things. One, I agree. Like, I want to give a lot of. I think that there's a lot of problems with like plutocracy in the world, and I like I think uh, the bicameral system of the Optimism Collective. It's really exciting experiment, and it's one of the things that attracted me to optimism. And I like how there's the balance there. But that's another thing too. Like, I believe that currently the voting is enabled for badge holders. So that's another question too. How much do badge holder votes count compared to OP tokens, compared to OPF? And those all have different things that people have done. And the OPF people have shown up, consistently at meetings, which is like very powerful and very valuable that people have contributed with this like incredibly neutral process that we have with the respect game. Also, eventually, maybe Zao Fractal or other tokens could be added too, or different kinds of metrics. Like, I know the Optimism Collective has done all sorts of experiments with like scores. You could have people who earn from retro funding, which is a pretty good metric, and GitHub, things like that. Different kinds of metrics. So I'd love to like expand it to that. And I think generally like the best way to do this is to ask the Optimism Fractal community to weigh in as like an arbiter, basically using its democratic consensus process to determine these decisions. So like basically, um, like for people who aren't familiar, the Optimism Fractal Council, if you go to Optimism Fractal Council, because Optimism Town Hall is like quite closely related to Optimism Town Hall, and um, like because we're pioneering these processes like fractal democracy and Cagendas, and we have these processes to govern over shared resources that we want to experiment with. I think it's a great idea to ask the Optimism Fractal Council what they think should be the appropriate ratios. So like when the time comes, we can make a proposal, and then if the Optimism Fractal Council determines, hey, we think the ratio should be different in the future, then hey, we have a consensus process to determine that. So that way the whole community can decide these things in the future and decide whether it should be 1,000 to 1, 1,000,000 to 1, 10 to 1, whatever it may be, and what are the tokens that should be included. So far, I've been doing some of that manually because like I've just been doing it basically how I thought it could be since I started the Upton Town Hall Snapshot space and stuff like that. But in the future, I would like to see it evolve to be more democratic like that. So that's my thought there. When the time comes, I think that we could use a democratic process to determine the right amount, and then we could have discussions about it and so forth. And maybe even we have like polls where we vote on it, and then the aggregate votes of the percentages will be the one that we choose to. So if anybody has any other thoughts on that, I don't know if Will, if you had any thoughts on that, then feel free. But otherwise, I'm happy to move on to Gene's question now about the business development.
Now let's talk about BD.
Okay, love the BD. Okay, so Gene asked, are we planning? I think feel free to correct me, Gene, but I think it was something along the lines of what kind of business development are we doing, or am I doing, or perhaps the Optimistics team doing, to which is um, I was laughing because Rosmari was laughing. Um, are we looking at like new chains across the super chain, or I don't know, some other kind of business development? Feel free to rephrase it, but that's what I remember from your question right now. So I think there's kind of like two questions there. So one is about new chains and the super chain. So from so yes, I am personally looking at different chains across the super chain, and I think it's an initiative that makes sense for the Optimism Town Hall and also the Optimism Fractal community too, to expand more towards, supporting the wider super chain. Um, Thanks for the comment there too. Much appreciated, Gene. Looking forward to the season very much. And so yeah, and thanks to the hearts. If I go to the Optimism Fractal Season 6 thread, for example, I was talking with Rosmari and we decided to put logos of a lot of the popular superchain networks, some of them small, some of them big, some of them very big, in the circle as like kind of the main theme. It's kind of like Optimism Fractal and the respect game with all of the networks empowering Ethereum is kind of like a little story you could draw from that, I guess. And yeah, so one of our goals, because there's so many amazing builders and amazing projects and amazing, there's a lot of funds and great initiatives going on across the super chain. And I think the super chain will probably have thousands of chains in the future with things like Conduit that make it easy to launch new chains. So would love for Optimism Fractal to be a place where people can join from across the super chain and collaborate, not just people who love specifically optimism, but who love the entire super chain, or any of their own networks like Cello or Azora or Redstone or Lisk or World or Soneium or Frax or Unichain or Ink or all of these. Base, of course, Base is huge. So I'm looking at these a lot. I don't think that Optimism Fractal isn't a business, but it just like in my perspective as trying to figure out the best strategy for Optimism Fractal. Um, I think that makes sense for Optimism Fractal to appeal to this as well as Optimism Town Hall, and then to build businesses alongside Optimism Fractal and Optimism Town Hall, that can, interact with various ways. And from my perspective, I'm mostly focused on uh, building businesses around like the tools and the products and so forth that help communities cooperate, like play the respect game and make decisions better and so forth. And so I've been coordinating with developers a lot and working on a lot of strategy to determine the best way to do that. There's been a lot of people who have been interested in implementing the respect game in their community, and so far it's been kind of like for the past couple of years as we've been doing this, it's been kind of like hasn't really been a complete product. It's been something that we can do, and we can offer like a complete product in terms of like an event that's fun and people have good time and good experience, but like it takes a lot of like technical coordination to be able to play these at an event right now. And we want to make it really easy for anybody to go and take the software we're building, the open source software, the respect game and so forth, and to be able to use it to empower their community, organization, or business, or whatever it may be, and work on ways to develop like a synergistic model where there's open source components that are free for everyone, and maybe there's and also there's some like business opportunities where people can build businesses around it, and be able to use that to fund the development, both all across the super chain as well as all throughout society and in different chains as well. So, did that answer your question, Gene? Or do you have any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah, thank you. I was just like, it's just always struck me as like a very in Optimism Fractal and just the whole group behind the Fractal ecosystem that you guys have developed seems to be like quite nicely poised to be able to develop relationships with some of these novel chains that are going to be introducing unique technologies in their own angle, and to cultivate relationships with them in a way that obviously they're going to be soliciting heavy development talent as much as they can be. Every chain needs builders, and so they're all going to have obviously attractive reasons. I'm sure you're well aware of this, but it just seems like a very always a nice opportunity to explore some of the newer participants and see if novel relationships could be developed along those lines.
Yeah. I completely agree, Gene, and appreciate you saying it. And I think it's like a two-way. It's kind of a two-way market because I think that now that we've done a lot of the foundational components for Optimism Fractal and fractals in general, as well as like some of the other games we've been experimenting with and processes, and these shows and everything. Like a lot of the foundational infrastructure is laid now, way more than it was years or months ago. And most of the people in the Fractal ecosystem have been doing it on a mostly volunteer basis, with some limited grants here and there. So like people in the Fractal ecosystem need to find business opportunities to support the development and accelerate the development so that we can build better stuff and have more useful, have people fairly compensated and have more useful software. And on the other side of the market, so to speak, is like, as you mentioned, all these networks, like some of these big networks here that are on the screen, as well as um, as well as all these other networks that might start up. Like, Soneium just started, like, I think it was like 6 months ago or something like that. That's like a huge company, Sony, that started up a network. Or, there's lots of just probably small teams of a few people or a handful of people who are starting up a new OP stack chain. It's getting easier and easier to do that over time. And like you said, like all of these chains have needs, and a lot of what we're building can help fulfill those needs. Like, for example, help with capital allocation to distribute funds to builders and foster collaborations between the builders and improve governance. I think eventually the Fractal software could potentially, it would be best to build it into the OP stack. I don't know all the specifics, but I can imagine it being used to actually govern some chains in some cases, or being directly integrated into the collective governance structures like the Citizens House or Token House, or just in different ways. Like all these processes, these games can bring people together and improve governance and improve capital allocation. All these things are things that like these networks need, and they benefit from. So I think there's like a important synergy there, that we can like meet these different networks in the middle, as well as also just like people who aren't networks specifically, but like just building a business or building a community on these networks, um, and using the benefits of blockchain as the world comes on chain. So yeah, I think there's that really great synergy where there's a lot of people and businesses and networks and so forth that are growing that need these kinds of tools and products, and people who are building this that need to build a business around it. And so yeah, I'm very much looking forward to exploring that and help fulfill that need in the market and help people collaborate with fractal fractal games and so forth.
Yeah, I think you're right. It'll be really neat to see the developments of while the like everybody was mentioning the number go up or the sentiment, positive sentiment in the market. So it'll be nice to see the rest of the developments over the year and see how the trajectories continue to proceed.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I think that we're really well positioned here in Optimism Fractal Season 6. We still have some work to go. Like today, Optimism Fractal, we had a bit of a messy situation because we have little technical issues here, but I think we're like mostly like we're getting quite close to being able to offer that on a much wider scale. And I remember too, Gene, I think if I'm not mistaken, like at some point, like maybe 6 months ago or something like that, we were talking a little bit, and I think you expressed interest in potentially helping out with some of the, I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it was something related to business development and or something. Um, and I know you're working on another project related to optimism and Edge City that I'm looking forward to learning about. But yeah, also Edge City, I would love to collaborate with all these like network states and so forth. Could really benefit from Fractal software, and Fractal games and shows and events and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. That I remember. I don't know if we ever followed up on that, or I think maybe both of us were kind of busy and we didn't follow up totally. But at some point, it'd be great to if you're interested in collaborating on any of this stuff, then I've generally been like that was part of the reason for the break too. That I've just been it's been a lot basically doing a lot of this, and so it'd be great to like once it's in place, it'd be great um to talk and potentially collaborate if you're interested in. And as for everybody too, we want to help like everybody find these opportunities and stuff like that. So if anybody's interested in collaborating with Fractals, or the stuff that we're pioneering at Optimism Town Hall, then everybody's always welcome to join the events and collaborate. That's what we're here for. And if anybody's interested in hoping to expand it and grow the business stuff like that, then I'm I would appreciate that a lot, and
I
looking
think
forward to helping everybody in the
Rosemary had a
community.
request. Yeah, I think Rosemary had a request in the chat, but before we address that, so what does a partner community relationship look like with the Optimistics?
Can you repeat that again? A partner community relationship?
Yeah, so what would that look like?
Well, can you just explain more about what you mean by partner community? Are you saying partner or community relationship or partner community?
No, partner community, like a partner community that could help grow the Optimistics community.
Um, I don't know. It's a good question. So I mean, I guess you could say I haven't really even thought about Optimistics community that much. I suppose there is an Optimistics community, but I usually think about Optimism Fractal as a community, Optimistics as a team. But I suppose there's an Optimistics community around people who support Optimism Fractal and like the software and stuff that the Optimistics are building. And
Well,
then
isn't like the Optimistics is like the overarching umbrella, right, around the Optimism Fractal community and the Eden Fractal community? Don't they all kind of fall into the same umbrella under Optimistics?
in a way, yes. So the way I see it is that Optimistics is a team, and Optimistics is the team that started Optimism Fractal, and Optimistics focuses on software development for developing the software that both Optimism Fractal use and Eden Fractal will soon use, and other communities like Zao Fractal are using to some extent and are interested in using more. And Optimistics is also organizing these events and like presenting them. So Optimistics is kind of like the main team that's behind the organization, the technical organization and the event organization of Optimism Fractal and Eden Fractal. I see, but I don't see it as like an umbrella in general. Like I see more so like fractal ecosystem as a term of like more so the umbrella in a way. Like for example, um, I've been using that term a lot. Like basically, Eden Fractal and Optimism Fractal are part of the fractal ecosystem, and also Zao Fractal is part of the fractal ecosystem. And then, if somebody else starts another fractal, that would be part of the fractal ecosystem. And I suppose it'd be more like Optimistics could be like a vendor or a supplier for all these. And I guess you could call it the Optimistics ecosystem or Optimistics community as well. But that's just the way I've usually thought of it, just with Optimistics being a team that supports all these different communities in the fractal ecosystem, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes more sense now.
Okay. And,
So I
and then,
guess with Optimism Fractal, right, what would a partner community relationship look like then?
well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought about that much. So, I mean, so back in the Fractally white paper, there actually was this idea of mutual respect with kind of like partner communities, like you're like thinking about it, but I haven't thought about it in those terms. But maybe I'll bring it up like briefly, although it's not totally relevant for our situation. But maybe we can kind of weave it in. So the Fractally white paper had a section because the Fractally white paper thought about respect as a liquid token. And that's what it was like first thinking about. And right now, there's no liquid tokens really anywhere in fractals. It's all it's all non-transferable tokens. But there's a section here, somewhere here about mutual respect, which was the idea of having a shared liquidity pool between the respect tokens of different communities, and that would like kind of make these communities partner communities where they would both stake their mutual respect with each other in liquidity pool. And that means that like if one number went up, then another number went up, and this would bring them together. I suppose with non-transferable tokens, then this could be achieved in some way without having like a liquid token, like in terms of say maybe if I don't know, maybe if they honor each other's respect. If another community has a respect token or their own kind of NFT or whatever, then maybe in Optimus Fractal's governance process, they would honor that token, or maybe in the Cagendas game, they'd honor that governance token, something like that. Those are some options that could be explored. I'm also exploring like some legal structures that could, with regards to that fund distribution system, where potentially the Optimus Fractal community could use its consensus processes to determine how to allocate funding and allocate not just to people who participate in Optimism Fractal, but it could also allocate to people in other communities based on based on their own respect or other metrics and so forth. So I suppose all those things could be like a partner community or just allocating respect to a partner community. But yeah, I think it's something that could be explored further. And like generally, I want to support, communities across the super chain, and also in particular want to support communities that are implementing these games and processes that we're building. But it's not like totally clear about exactly what the best way to do that is right now. But sharing respect and potentially sharing, other kinds of either financial or non-financial forms of support between Optimism Fractal and other communities could be a way to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'll let you talk about ORDAO now by Rosemary's request.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks, Will. Thanks for the questions and the thoughts. And yeah, I would love to hear too if you have thoughts about partner communities at some
Well,
point.
well, I mean, let's go down for one, right? Because we have a reputation token that's not financially incentivized, so it's not a liquid token, but you can earn it not in the exact fashion that you do in the Optimism Fractal community, but in a similar fashion by doing work on behalf of the DAO or participating in DAO coordinated events, things like that. So I think we could have a further refined discussion around that and what that relationship could look like. But that's maybe out of context of this forum. That makes sense.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, no, I'd love to talk about that more. I'm a huge fan of what you're doing with Let's Grow, as well as um, you and the entire Let's Grow team and community. I think it's amazing what you're doing. I also want to apologize too. I've been meaning to join the Let's Grow live calls, and I was just barely able to get a Gitcoin application out, so I felt bad about not following up with you about that. But really
Well,
appreciate
don't
your
feel bad
support.
about it. It was, joining in there is an opportunity to market and get more exposure on your grant. I did see your guys' grant in GG23. So yeah, just something to think about for future iterations that when we run Let's Grow Live again, participating in that can put more of a spotlight on what you're building. So
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I very much appreciate the spotlight. And yeah, just due to time constraints, I was only able to get out a promotion for it like the day before. But now I think that, I was looking a little while to understand how the whole Gitcoin sign up and everything works. So I think that in future seasons I'll be able to get out an application sooner, and I would love to join Let's Grow. And also, I appreciate, remember when you invited me to Let's Grow call and I shared about Cagendas with everyone there, and that was an honor, and I really appreciate it. And it was great when we collaborated and we invited Wasabi and Donnie, I think, over here, and we saw that out to
for the hats, yeah.
the Hats tree. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited to collaborate more with Let's Grow, and I think that'd be fascinating to explore like potential more more collaborations and potential partnerships and stuff like that. So yeah, let's keep that conversation open and explore it more in like I don't know, the coming weeks and coming months, or whenever the time is right. And yeah, I suppose there's only 5 minutes left at the top of the hour, so I suppose I will go ahead and respond to Rosemary's question. If you want to unmute and say it, Rosemary, you can. But otherwise, I can say it.
Okay. But if you think it's maybe too much or we don't have that much time, we can leave it for another time too. My question was if you can briefly explain about the Superchain ORDAO development, which I think is part of the Interop program that Optimism Fractal is part of, that Optimism is currently running with projects in the Superchain. Because rewinding a bit, we were talking about the business development, and that can have a big opportunity with making OPF more appealing and useful for other chains. And I thought about this question as a nice segue from the earlier discussion.
Okay. Well, yeah, excellent. Great point. Thanks, Rosemary. I did actually, that flashed in my mind a little bit while I was responding to Gene, but then I kind of totally forgot about it. So I appreciate you bringing it back up. Okay, so yeah, I will give a brief overview of this. I'll try to do it in like 3 minutes or so, so we won't go over time. But I think it's a great way to add. I think we went over it a little bit at the end of maybe a town hall at the end of last season, but I don't totally remember. So I'll just pull up some quick things here to show, and then we can wrap it up afterwards. So yeah, for anybody who's not familiar, ORDAO, optimistic respect-based governance software for optimistic respect-based DAO, and decentralized autonomous organization. This is a software that Tadas has been leading the development of for I think over a year now, based on the OREC contract. It's the main software infrastructure for Optimism Fractal that Eden Fractal will be deploying shortly, and that's integrated with whenever we play the respect game. We are making proposals with ORDAO, and this allows the community to execute on-chain actions using their respect tokens, open source software that really, really amazing stuff. There's an article that I have here, optimistics.io/ORDAO, where you can learn more about it. And Tadas has done a great job in the GitHub repository, which you can find in the article, which explains more and shows the code. And we have Tadas he created the ORDAO front end, and he's going to be deploying it for Optimism Fractal, I think, for the next event. And we have like 10, 12 videos about it for people who want to learn more. So that's like ORDAO. And then in um when I went to ETH Denver, I met up with some people from the OP Labs team, Zane and Hamdi, who are building Interop across the Superchain, and we're going to be releasing Interop across the Superchain in like the coming month or two, and they wound up inviting me. Like we had a whole good discussion, which I think I went over a little bit, and we put out some tweets and stuff like that about how this could be useful for Optimism Fractal. And then Zane invited me to join the Superchain Interop incubator, and then I created this little like kind of job description, and I collaborated with Tadas, and we ended up working with Jacob to build the Superchain ORDAO, which is basically taking the ORDAO smart contracts that Jacob has or that Tadas has built and making them Superchain interoperable so that the Optimism Fractal community can execute actions across the Superchain, and the respect can be used across the Superchain in other applications and so forth. Like, for example, maybe if there's a DeFi app on Unichain that does lending and it wants to do under collateralized loans based upon respect scores or something like that, like it can use that reputation data to influence its business logic and improve its business. And also the fractal communities can execute actions across all chains and interact across all chains. So it really goes along with this new initiative where Ethereum is becoming interoperable as a whole, and the superchain is becoming like one big chain basically. And so allow ORDAO to execute that. People will be able to play their spec game all over. It'll be great. So Jacob's been doing some great work. We're about halfway through the program now. And if it'd be helpful, I could share, I know we're just about out of time, but I could share, like, for example, there's been weekly events. I've been collaborating closely with Jacob and Tadas on this. And for example, a few weeks ago, we shared a scope document review where I'd given a little presentation about this Superchain or DAO and what we're building and stuff like that. We have like a one-page description, and I made this whole big article about how it could be useful for internal purposes, and then I gave a little overview, and then Jacob's been working on this 10-week development timeline, and I don't know why you see me on the screen right now, but up there's Jacob. So he's been working on this and actually doing the smart contract development. So this is like an infrastructure improvement that we've been working on in the background that will make it make it a lot more accessible for any community coming onto the superchain that wants to interact with ORDAO or interact with respect tokens, to be able to use our software across chain. So this is like half done or so now, or maybe a little less. I don't know. We're also going to be pitching this to venture capitalists at the end of it. Uniswap VC, I believe it is, or Uniswap Foundation. So there'll be opportunities to gather further support for it after, provided that we can develop something that's great. And I think we're making good progress so far. So that's my update about Superchain, Superchain ORDAO, and I'll share a link about that video in case anyone wants to check it out. Or I'll also just share a link to the ORDAO article if anyone wants to check it out too, for more details in the Zoom chat. Does anybody have any response to that? We're past the time. Happy to go a bit longer if anybody wants to share any last comments on that, or any last words that you want to share before we wrap up. hopefully that answered the question well, Rosmari, and provided a good overview. And hopefully everybody's enjoyed the Optimism Fractal Respect so far. I appreciate everybody's support and questions and thoughts.
I appreciate the overview very much. I'm gonna be looking over the ORDAO stuff later today. Thank you very much, Rosmari. Thank you very much, Dan.
You're very welcome, Gene.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for looking over it. Really appreciate it. And yeah, feel free to reach out with any questions too. In the Discord. Das is quite active there, and he's fully focused on developing ORDAO. And also I should mention too, Das is starting ORDAO Fractal. And he asked for my help in promoting it. So I've actually been collaborating with Das on Base Batches application. Base Batches is a program that Base is distributing funding and incubation and stuff like that for people building stuff on Base. And we've had these ORDAO office hours where we've actually played the Respect game to measure contributions to ORDAO 8 times now. You can watch all the videos. And for example, Tadas I just uploaded this. I haven't even shared it anywhere yet, but I played this like basically you can see how ORDAO works now. You can see the screen where you can make proposals and you can see how much vote it is and stuff like that. So it really makes the ORDAO app much more much easier to understand. Like previously it was smart contracts, but now there's an actual front end for it too. So Tadas has really done outstanding work on it. And so I want to give a big applause and shout out to Tadas. He said he couldn't make it today because he's working on some last minute changes before the application is submitted because it's due tomorrow night. But you can check out these videos to see the ORDAO front end, and everybody's welcome to join these events too. The ORDAO front end, the ORDAO front end events. No, the ORDAO Fractal events. They were previously called the ORDAO office hours, but he's going to be rebranding them to the ORDAO Fractal officially, and he's hosting one on next Tuesday at 15 UTC, and then hosting another one, which will be the official ORDAO Fractal launch on the following Tuesday at 15 UTC. So you can find that in the it'll be on the Optimistics event calendar. If you subscribe to the Optimistics event calendar, you'll see it. Or if you go to the Optimism Fractal Discord and then you go to the ORDAO channel, and you can see all of DOS's updates there, and you can find the link. I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, maybe I'll just pull it up real quick so people can see that. And then I go to the ORDAO channel, and then this is the ORDAO office hours event. So I encourage everyone to join the ORDAO office hours / ORDAO Fractal event on next Tuesday at 15 UTC. Thanks, Rosmari, for sharing that link there.
Is that
Thank you.
when he'll test it? He'll test
That was this past
ORDAO?
Tuesday, right?
Yeah, so this past Tuesday, so we met for the past two weeks on the Tuesdays. Toss has been sharing those links in the Optimism Fractal chats, so he always shares them there. 2 weeks ago, he shared actually no, last week he shared the ORDAO front end preview where he just demonstrated it, and then 2 days ago we tested it on the test net with me, Toss, and Jacob were the three people who were there. And then the next one, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know he's planning to deploy ORDAO Fractal for Optimism in the next couple of weeks, Optimism Fractal in the next couple of weeks. So maybe he's going to demonstrate that. I don't know, on the mainnet, and then probably I guess he would do that. And then also for in 2 weeks he's planning to do the official launch of ORDAO Fractal, as well as soon he's building a feature where Eden Fractal community members who previously earned respect on the EOS blockchain can now claim their respect. So he's building a claim respect feature cross chain. So he's going to be demoing that at some point soon, I believe. But we'll have to see where, like, just stay tuned for his announcements, basically, to see what he builds.
Yeah.
And what.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I've had a conflict, but I'm gonna try and get out of that conflict so I can be more participatory in that as well. All right. I guess I'll see you guys next week for Eden Fractal. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see you there, Will.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Take
All
care,
right.
guys. Have a
Thanks,
great
Will.
weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
Take
Have a
care.
great weekend.
Bye.
Great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hmm.
All right, Rosmari, just me and you now. Thanks so much for all your support and questions and stuff. Yeah, ORDAO Fractal. That's right. So you made a question. Das had hinted at ORDAO Fractal, or like said he was thinking about it in the chat like a couple months ago. But now it's like official. The ORDAO office hours will be coming ORDAO Fractal, and he wants to promote it and make a big bash, make a big party, I guess, for it. So I'm excited about it. A new Fractal blooming up, and to support ORDAO software, which would be really, really amazing. So I see your heart. Is there anything, Rosemarie, you want to share as we wrap up? Any last thoughts? Or if you want, we can we can wrap it up. I know it's late for you. We can wrap it up whenever you're ready.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay. What do you feel like? You feel like saying go Optimism?
Yes. Go
Okay.
Superchain.
Go. Okay. Go Optimism. Go Superchain, or go both.
Go Superchain.
Go Superchain. Okay. Well, before we do that, I just want to invite everyone. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who joined. Thanks so much for joining the first event of the season. We invite you to join again for Optimism Town Hall in the coming week, or no, 2 weeks from now. Although I'll put that proposal and just, I guess, stay tuned to see about that proposal about like how often the Optimism Town Hall events will be and Optimism Fractal events will be and stuff like that. But encourage you to follow along in the governance forum threads to see our progress. And same for Optimism Fractal too. These will both be returning. Optimism Fractal will be returning on 2 weeks from now on Thursday, and we hope to see you all on the Eden Fractal event on May 22nd for the first event of the Eden Fractal season. So thanks everybody so much once again. Please like and subscribe. And if you're ready, Rosmari, then we'll count down and we'll say 3,
3, 2.
2, 1.
Go
Go Superchain! All right. Thanks all. Thanks, Rosmari.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you, Dan. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.